Title: The Woman They Tried to Silence. Ma'am, you need to leave now. The words cracked across the courtroom like a whip. Danielle Brooks stood her ground. She clutched a thick folder of legal documents to her chest, her knuckles white, her jaw tighter than a vice. Around her, a murmur stirred the benches like wind brushing wheat. But Danielle didn't move. "I have the right to be here," she replied, her voice even. The judge didn't even blink. "Not anymore," said Judge Lenora Whitmore, slamming her gavel. "Bailiff, remove her." Sergeant Cole Hatcher stepped forward. He was a tall man, square-jawed, and built like a statue from some war memorial. Except this war wasn't ancient. It was now. And the battle? A woman with nothing left to lose but the truth. He approached, hand outstretched toward Danielle's arm when, bang, the doors burst open. A clerk, soaked from the rain, ran in holding a folded note with a red seal. "Your Honor," she gasped, panting. "There's a call from the White House." Everything stopped. The judge froze, mouth parted. Cole halted, arms suspended mid-air like a freeze frame in a silent film. Danielle turned slowly. This was it. Everything was about to change. 12 hours earlier, rain fell in silver slashes against the windows of a modest brick home in the Brookmont district of Maryland, just outside D.C. The skies brooded. The clouds pressed low like the city was waiting for something. Judgment, perhaps. Inside that home, Danielle Brooks stood at the kitchen sink, her reflection fractured in the rain-streaked glass. Behind her, the kettle hissed. On the dining table sat a binder thick with documents. Printed emails, phone records, meeting memos with names blacked out. A year's worth of proof that she wasn't crazy. She had uncovered something real, something dangerous, something no one wanted her to prove. Mom, her daughter, Sierra, appeared in the doorway in a hoodie 2 sizes too big. "You nervous?" the girl asked, cradling a tablet under one arm. Danielle turned, blinking herself back to earth. "More than I want to admit," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sierra walked over, reached into her pocket, and pulled out a small tarnished pendant in the shape of a feather. "Grandma said feathers carry the weight of truth, even when no one wants to hear it." Danielle took it. Her throat tightened. Her mother had marched in Selma, had a scar on her cheek from the baton of a cop who didn't like her holding a sign that said, "I am a person." "Thanks, baby," Danielle whispered. "I'll carry it with me." And she did, all the way to the courthouse. Downtown D.C., 9:12 a.m. Danielle parked 2 blocks away from the courthouse. The city was slick, gray, and unforgiving. Wind whipped between the buildings like gossip. She walked alone, binder pressed to her chest like a bulletproof vest. On her left, a building loomed, Sterling and Vaughn Communications, her old employer. The ones who had fired her when she found out what their voter image strategy really meant. She had brought it to her boss. He'd called her paranoid. The next week, she was let go. Official reason? Restructuring. Real reason? She saw too much. And worse, she spoke up. A year later, she was here, taking them to court. And the firm had brought in the big guns. A 5-attorney legal team. PR spin. An entire lobby group on standby. The courthouse steps were flanked by reporters, umbrellas like mushrooms in the storm. Someone had leaked her case to the press. Whispers of racial bias, of retaliation, of evidence that could tear open a national scandal. Danielle reached the metal detectors. 2 security guards gave her a second glance, then a third, and then she heard the voice. "I'll take this one." It was Sergeant Cole Hatcher. He didn't smile. "Ms. Brooks," he said. "That's me," she replied. "Courtroom 3C. Judge Whitmore." She nodded. He didn't move. Something in his eyes. Not quite suspicion. Not quite recognition. But definitely caution. "Good luck," he said. It didn't sound like he meant it. Inside the courtroom, it was cold. Polished wood. Granite pillars. American flags crossed beneath the state seal. Danielle sat next to her attorney, Elijah Reese, a brilliant young black lawyer with a photographic memory and a spine made of iron. "She's moving the schedule," he whispered as the judge entered. No explanation. Just moved it up. Danielle felt her stomach turn. They were trying to throw her off. Judge Lenora Whitmore was already seated. Tall. Silver hair pulled into a bun so tight it looked painful. Her face gave nothing away. The opposing counsel, Sterling and Vaughn's lead attorney, gave Danielle a smirk. Danielle didn't return it. Elijah began. He laid it out methodically. Danielle's years of work performance, her excellence, her sudden dismissal after reporting racially biased strategies in internal communications. Then Danielle took the stand. She spoke calmly, professionally. She laid out the names, the meetings, the metrics, and then she presented the emails. Phrases like urban skew adjustment, voter optic cleanup, avoid ethnically suggestive visuals. Judge Whitmore's demeanor changed. Eyes narrowed. Opposing counsel objected. Sustained. Whitmore snapped. Elijah protested. Sustained. Then Danielle reached into her binder and pulled out something new. These documents were received last week, she said, from an internal whistleblower. They're admissible. And that's enough, Ms. Brooks, the judge said coldly. But, Your Honor, this evidence. You're turning this courtroom into a crusade. Bailiff. And then the gavel slammed. The call. Just before Sergeant Hatcher could reach Danielle, the doors opened and the soaked clerk rushed in. There's a call from the White House. Everyone froze. The judge's hand slowly lowered. The clerk handed her a note sealed in red wax. Judge Whitmore read it once. Then again. And she paled. Court is in recess, she barked. 15 minutes. Do not leave this floor. Inside Judge Whitmore's chambers, she stared at the secure line like it was radioactive. A voice spoke on the other end. Measured. Calm. Federal. Yes, sir, she murmured. I understand. Yes. Across from her, Sergeant Hatcher stood, summoned for a personnel update. What he heard chilled him. This case has drawn the attention of the Deputy Attorney General, Judge Whitmore said. They're watching. More than watching, she whispered. They're sending someone. She turned toward him. Find Ms. Brooks. Bring her back. With respect. No cuffs. No force. Not anymore. Back in the hallway, Danielle was sitting on a bench outside courtroom 3C. Alone. Binder still in her lap. When Hatcher approached, she didn't flinch. You're being asked to return, he said quietly. Danielle blinked. Ask. Yes, he said. Your testimony is being resumed. Fully. With all evidence admissible. She stood slowly. What changed? A call. From higher up. She raised an eyebrow. So now I'm worth listening to. He nodded once. I didn't see the whole picture earlier, he said. I do now. Danielle's voice was cold, but clear. Respect isn't something you offer when convenient. It's something you should have had from the beginning. Back in the courtroom, the room felt different. Tense. Electric. When Danielle entered, the gallery stared like they were seeing her for the first time. Even the judge's expression had softened, just slightly. Judge Whitmore tapped her gavel. The court will now admit new evidence, including Exhibits 14 through 27. The opposing counsel leapt up. Objection. Overruled. The courtroom screens lit up. Emails. Performance charts. Racially coded strategy briefs. Then came the video. A woman appeared on screen. Young. Pale. Nervous. My name is Lillian Prescott, she said. I worked for Sterling and Vaughn's internal strategy team. She outlined it all, the manipulation, the retaliation against Danielle, the systemic practices that weren't accidental, they were calculated. They fired her, she said, because she tried to make it stop. The courtroom was silent. The defense counsel sat back slowly. His mouth opened, then closed. There was nothing left to say. The aftermath. In the weeks that followed, Sterling and Vaughn imploded. DOJ investigation. Public outrage. Clients pulled out. Employees spoke up. Danielle declined interviews. Instead, she started a foundation. The Brooks Project, supporting whistleblowers and fighting workplace discrimination. She received letters from across the country. You made them listen. You gave us hope. Her daughter Sierra helped build the nonprofit's website. And Sergeant Hatcher? He transferred to community affairs. He now trains new officers on discretion, on equity, on what it means to listen before reacting. Final day in court. Judge Whitmore sat behind the bench, robes still imposing, but eyes different. This matter has reached a historic settlement, she said. Danielle stood. This isn't just for me, she said. It's for everyone who's ever been told their voice didn't matter. We proved it does. The gavel fell, and Danielle Brooks walked out of courtroom 3C into a city bathed in rain and light. Legacy. Danielle's story didn't end in that courtroom. It started there. And the ripples, unexpected, unstoppable, had only just begun.